Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, and I am going song by song by song by song by song through everything Uriah Heep recorded in the studio. If I can get my hands on a copy of it, I will review it on this show. And today we have a song coming from the Wake the Sleeper album on our 21st season of the podcast. And this song is called Light of a Thousand Stars, and it is by Uriah Heep, of course. Here we go. Well, this has just another nice, heavy opening. But this one feels a little happier and a little bit more optimistic. Really like the guitar and keyboard combination that we're hearing there in the upper mid-range. It's nice to hear the bass cutting through a little bit more on this song. I can actually hear what Trevor's playing, and he's going up and down the scale very nicely. Drums are just rock solid once again. I think there is another rhythm guitar track underneath of that, but I can't be sure exactly what that is just yet. So even as we transition into this second part here, I'm imagining we're about to get the vocals starting. But even with this, it just has a heavy sound, but a lighthearted feel. I still feel some optimism in this.
We stand like brothers on a troubled sky. So crazy how we came to live this life. Cross my heart, but I refuse to die. I'm coming home to you. They never gave us any guarantee. All they want to see is bravery. And I can't live with all this misery. I'm coming home to you.
Well, I love that. I love when a line in a verse or a chorus cuts out like half a line earlier than you would expect it would, and it just kind of leaves that air in there for either another musician to come in or for just to hang open a little bit like they did here. I really like that. And then that's a nice transition here as we're about to hit the next part.
I don't know who's on whose side. Guide me with your love. Give me the light of a thousand stars. Shine my way back to you.
Boy, Bernie just sounds great, doesn't he? Something really interesting here, and I've talked about this before on the show on the occasion that it's happened, but instead of playing the hi-hat, I could hear Russell riding on a crash cymbal. And, there are times when that works, and there are times when it kind of drowns out other things. But it's very much in the background here. It's not cutting through. It's not overriding anything else. It's really just kind of giving the whole song a thicker sound. I don't think it needs a thicker sound because there's already, kind of so much going on for our ears to perceive, all in a certain range that, makes it almost cloudy, but not. I can hear everything that's going on, but it's kind of right on the edge of that, instruments blending into other instruments in the mix. So it's an interesting choice. I think it works for the song, but as far as like the audio component of the listener experience, I don't think it's necessarily needed, but it's interesting that it's done at such a low volume that it doesn't encroach on anything else. Nice little run from Phil there on the organ. That sounds really good. This, on this album, they've had a really just nice blend of organ and guitar. They seem to fit so well together in these note ranges, and I really like it. I think it adds a harder edge, a heavierness, if you will, to the song. Also, heavierness is now a word.
Who's on whose side? Guide me with your love. Give me the light of 1,000 stars. Shine my way back to you. Show me the road, get me over the line. There's no limit to what love can do. 'Cause I keep your picture close to my heart. You're the sweetest thing in this life. And if I ever get back home, I'm gonna fight to keep our dream alive.
That was a really nice change, and that fit very well. The progression of the song is just very smooth, very natural. It's interesting, but not something that's so shocking that it kind of takes you away from the song. It really just keeps you nestled in this warm blanket of music. And I like that. I like what Trevor's playing too. I'm really glad I can hear it. He's really being a little bit more adventurous on this song, and it really shows. It really makes a big difference overall. The challenge of a lot of hard rock albums that sound like this, there's a certain commonality I found between them, and the ones that have the edge in sound like these do, there tends to be a bit of a disruption when a guitar solo comes in, because the keyboards are trying to be in both ears and filling out the sound, making up for the guitar that isn't there. You've still got the rhythm guitar that's playing those chords that it would be playing during this part of the song anyway. But with the keyboard being so much in the front, it starts to really override the guitar a little bit. I can hear what Mick is playing, but I think it just depends on the kind of headphones I'm listening on right now. I think if I was listening through earbuds or maybe some other kinds of headphones, I would not be able to hear Mick as well. And there's probably somewhere I could hear him a little bit better. But yeah, that does tend to be the issue with that kind of organ against this kind of guitar in a situation like this. I've heard it on a lot of albums, and it's interesting how consistently the mixes go from band to band. And yeah, very interesting. But I like the solo. I like what Phil's playing, but I think there's a little bit of shift in the balance when it comes to that particular section. And the tables have turned a little bit on the bass and drums as well. It sounds, in the earlier songs on the album, it sounded like the bass drums were overriding the bass guitar a little bit. And now it seems the other way around. I'm hearing less bass drums and a little bit more bass guitar. And that is pretty interesting in itself. Also, I really love Russell's snare sound on this song. It's dry, but it's heavy and thick and has such a great sound to it. Really adds a lot, especially with the kind of snare fills that he's been playing through the song. and another concert style ending. Is that all the songs on this so far? I think so. All 4 of them. Yeah, I really like the end. I like that we're getting that classic, let's repeat the chorus, but do some guitar work underneath of that, some soloing. Unfortunately, with the balance of it, couldn't really hear what Mick was playing, at least not, again, on these particular headphones. But overall, the song is very powerful. I love that, repetitive style in the chorus where every line it has that same cadence to it. Because it's a really nice cadence. It's very enjoyable. So I like that. I like the doubling of the vocals as always. Bernie does such a good job with that. But it's a very strong song. It's got a great sound to it. The mix is a little bit unbalanced on this one for me, but it's bound to happen. It's tough when you're mixing this kind of sounding album. So much heavy distortion, so much in that mid range. It's not surprising that things are going to kind of step on each other as far as that goes. But overall, it's a great song. Really liked it. And I could definitely see why it has its place on the album. So that is our show, guys. That is Light of 1,000 Stars. And guess what? We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. And we'll see you then. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!